Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the video. So in this one here, I want to talk about The Walking Dead World Beyond. This show is going to be premiering later this year. It will for sure be airing this year. I think it's going to be airing in October. Right now, if all this stuff never happened, we would probably be on like episode 6 or 7 or something like that, which is kind of sad to think about. But this show definitely will be coming out, I imagine, in the fall because most of it's done, I think. They started filming this 2 months after The Walking Dead season 10 first started filming. So we already got 15 episodes of that. There's only 10 episodes of this. I imagine most of the season is done. There probably is some stuff they have to work on, but I'm sure a lot of it is done. I mean, a lot of people have already watched the first episode. I'm sure the first 4 or 5 are for sure done. This is most likely going to be the main show that we watch this fall because season 11 isn't going to be coming out this year. At least I really don't see any chance in it happening. We're still at a point though where there is a chance because it's mid-May right now, right? They're supposed to start filming at the very end of this month, which is obviously very unlikely. They could start filming next month, but I think once we're around July or August and they haven't started filming yet, that tells us already right there that like if it's July and they haven't filmed yet and there's no, like, it just doesn't seem like they're going to start filming, in the next month or so, it definitely won't be coming out this year. Already at this point, I'm still just extremely doubtful. So we'll be watching World Beyond, and I'm actually pretty hyped for this show. This scene came out probably a month ago, actually maybe like 2 months ago now, but I never got a chance to talk about it because The Walking Dead was on. And over the last month, I forgot about it. I just actually found it in my notes here, and I was like, oh, I should do a video on that. So I went and watched the scene, and yeah, I'm actually really hyped for this show. Usually I would say this would contain spoilers for The Walking Dead, and I guess it kind of does if you haven't watched season 9 or 10 and you're just checking out this video because it's something unrelated to the show. And maybe this spin-off show is making you want to get back into The Walking Dead, then yeah, this will contain spoilers, I guess, for season 9 and 10. But just this scene alone, I hope this represents what the show is actually going to be like, because I actually think it's going to be entertaining. Now, I do want to say, just for a reminder for people who have forgot, or if there's just people who are new to this show is only going to be 2 seasons. It's a limited run, so we're going to get 20 episodes in total. I don't know the episode count for season 2. I don't think anyone really does right now. But the first season is 10 episodes. I imagine the second season will as well be 10 episodes. And then that's it. The characters we see here, that is it. After these 2 seasons, we're not going to see them anymore. I mean, they could appear in the Rick movies. They could appear, maybe they have a little bit more importance in terms of that. But it's possible that, this is just this self-contained story, which I'm totally cool with. And there's a lot of Rick Grimes movie references because obviously Rick did go with the CRM. He is with the same community, or a part of this 3-ringed circled community. The story is set in Nebraska, which, if you remember in season 2, they referenced Nebraska by saying, I heard Nebraska's nice. The story is also set 10 years after the apocalypse initially started, which puts us around the point where we are currently at with the Whisperer arc. It could be a couple months behind, it could be a couple months ahead. It's just it's generally in that area. Probably, if anything, a couple months behind, just because if they're saying generally 10 years, I mean, Judith is 10 years old, right? Lori got pregnant with Judith pretty much at the very start of the apocalypse, which takes 9 whatever months until she was born. So if Judith is 10 right now, it's been 10 years since season 3 since she was born, plus whatever time that was beforehand. So it could be closer to 11 years. Regardless, it's generally around the same time, which is exciting because Fear the Walking Dead is years in the past. I think they're 6-7 years still in the past. To see the status of the world 10 years into the apocalypse, to see the fact the CRM have survived this long, because when we lost Rick on the show, that he went with the CRM, but we did a 6-year time jump after that. But because this show is taking place 10 years in, it basically proves that I'm not sure what Rick has been doing for the last 6 years, but he hasn't really done anything to take down the CRM, if that's even going to be a plot. Now, this character here we learn in this scene is Colonel Elizabeth Kublek, and she's some kind of officer, military officer or something with the CRM, which I also talked about this one time in a video a month or 2 ago, but the CRM, it means Civic Republic Military, so it's nothing like we were thinking in terms of the C represents Commonwealth. Actually, some people got the R meaning Republic and the M meaning military. Some people guessed militia. It's kind of the same thing. So we were pretty close with it, but I'm guessing these 3 communities are going to have different names, but they're all bound under the CRM, which is the main force running all of this. And I've seen some theories out there, which I think probably is going to be one of the main story elements to the movies, which is the CRM had an opportunity to shut down this apocalypse, but they just allowed more of it to happen. They refused to help people because then they just gained way more power. They benefited from this apocalypse. And so I think Rick could discover more things with that, which I think would be really interesting, you know, to think of certain moments, maybe even though in the Walking Dead show, happening, certain areas of the United States, I guess, that were heavily affected happened because the CRM just refused to do anything about it. They could have, maybe they even like allowed zombies to go into certain regions, right? They quarantined certain regions, but forced everyone into other areas. I don't know. Now we have two new characters here, which I have talked about in the past. This is Felix Carlucci, and on the right is Huck. They're going to be part of our main leads, and they seem to be more tied to the CRM or just more tied to how this place in Nebraska operates with the CRM, and they seem to be just more of a higher ranking official. The first episode to this show is titled Brave, and it was actually written by Scott Gimple and Matt Negrete, who is the showrunner to this show. He was a really great writer for The Walking Dead, and so the fact that he's getting his own show, I really can't wait to see how he's going to do it. Because Angela Kang was a writer on the show since, I think, season 2. And eventually she became showrunner in season 9. And obviously the show has benefited so much. Like, if you've been running for the show for years, especially since season 2, you know the history of this show, you know how these characters have grown. I think she understands this world so much, and I think that's why the show has benefited so much from it. And Matt Negrete, he was also a writer for however long. I imagine the show is going to be just as good. At least I really have I don't have my expectations too high, but I think it's going to be a great show. The second episode, whenever that does come out, is titled Blaze of Glory, and I don't know who is writing, directing, or anything like that, but yeah, so based off of those first two titles there, you can see that the first episode is probably going to have them escape this community that they're in, and they're going to be brave and go out into the world. Because I know that was generally the premise to this. Young kids who grew up in practically a safe environment for, you know, a decade. What is it going to be like when they go out into the real world? Because they haven't seen what the real world is like. And it's a lot worse than, say, Aaron and all of them in Alexandria. Aaron actually went out and saw zombies. Some of the people in Alexandria before Rick and them arrived saw zombies and stuff like that, but obviously this community here, it's a part of the CRM, it's way more fortified. They've been living like it's normal life this entire time, and they're going to go out there and see the world and be like, what happened? We also have this new character, Hope, which she's probably going to be the main lead, like the main number one lead, just because she's always front and center on all the like the posters, the artwork and stuff. She's like the main character, her name's always first on everything, so she's probably going to be the main character. She gives the finger to the Colonel here, Colonel Elizabeth Kublek, and her reaction to it, which is what I found a little interesting, because she was a little startled by that. And so I'm sure that scene is going to come into play later on, right? Where she will recognize her at some point. Because I think that's where the series is going. Because this is a limited series and it's not its own TV show that's going to last 5-6 seasons, I think this is Rick Grimes' movie setup. I really do. It's only 2 seasons. I don't see the movie coming out next year. I see the movie probably coming out, I would imagine, in 2022. I think this show is going to set up a lot of the Rick movie. I think we're going to see a lot of the CRM, its locations, a lot of how they work. A lot of that, I'm sure, is going to be introduced. And yeah, it'll set up the Rick Grimes movie. I also think that Rick will be mentioned by name. It might not happen in the first season, maybe second season, but I feel like that's probably going to happen. And I think that would be smart. Why not? He's a character in this universe. He's a part of the CRM. I don't know if he joined them, but he was taken by them. I think he's still there. Maybe something has happened in the last 6 years, something of significance, and something happens where they can mention him by name. Now, obviously, the reference that they do has to be worthy of the reference. You can't just reference Rick Grimes just for no reason, just to have Rick Grimes mentioned in an episode. They'll have to do something where it's mentioned like, well, we changed our ways and we do things like this now because of someone named Rick or something like that. Ever since he did this or whatever it is, we have to do things this way now. I know he probably will be named in the series. I actually wouldn't be too shocked if Jadis appeared in the series, maybe in season 2, because you can actually bring that character here. You can bring some of those smaller characters on this show. I think Jadis would be a really awesome addition to the World Beyond because she's a part of the same community. And yeah, I think that could work really well. But overall, this scene, it has me hyped. I really can't say anything more than that. I can't wait to watch this first episode. I want to know what the first season's going to be. Sadly, we're going to watch this entire series before the Rick movie ever comes out. But as of now, I'm taking this as like a Rick Grimes movie origin story. It's setting up the CRM, it's setting up everything we need to know about it. And so that's why I'm excited about it. Even though we're probably going to get these, standalone character development episodes focusing on Hope and all of them characters we're probably never going to see again, but that's fine. These characters could be really awesome. And yeah, I'm hyped for the story. But post all your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. Are you guys hyped for World Beyond? And also, do you think there's going to be Rick Grimes mentions, either by name or just a reference to the character, which we can probably interpret as Rick Grimes? Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.